1, 2, 3.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the July 7th, 2025 Long Hill Township Board of Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Long Hill Township Board of Education was given as required by the Open Public Meeting Act as follows. Notice was sent to the Echo Sentinel and Daily Record on October 14th, 2024. Notices were posted on the bulletin board in the first floor entrance hall of the School District Administration Building, Gillette, New Jersey. Notices were filed with the Township Clerk, and notices were mailed to all persons who have requested individual notice pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler? Mrs. Daly?
Here.
Mr. DeJamos? Mr. Foster? Mr. Grosskopf?
Here.
Dr. Marr?
Here.
Mrs. McLennan?
Here.
Ms. Nyquist?
Here.
Mrs. Case?
Here. I think before we jump into presentation, we just, as a board, would like to, and as a district, have a moment of silence for the victims and the communities that are battling the flooding in Texas. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Alexis for presentation.
Okay, thank you. We have our members of our administrative leadership team here, and I'm going to invite the principals forward. Andrew's going to come forward. Jack's on his honeymoon, as you know, so Andrew is here, and he's going to load the presentation. I just have a brief introduction, and then I'm going to turn it over to our new Gillette principal, Melissa Backer. Okay. So we begin with our 4 goals, right, our district goals. And you've seen these before, you've seen them all year, and we've talked about them, and I've given you some updates on certainly on goal number 2 with the attendance rate. But tonight we're going to go through all 4. Before we get to that, we're just going to go to the next slide. We're just going to give you a brief overview on iReady, and I know most of you, particularly those of you who have children in the district, are very familiar with iReady at this point, but it's our computer-based assessment system used to identify individual strengths and weaknesses, and it has a learning path associated with for the students when they are doing their practice assessments or taking the diagnostic. They have the problems either get harder or easier based on the responses from the students. I think why it matters is really that this has been a great tool for us to use to implement a data-driven culture in the district, and we've been paying a lot more attention to data in terms of student performance, not just using the NJSLA and some of the other local assessments, but having something consistent throughout the year, and we measure it 3 times a year. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the results from June. We can go to the next slide. So we had our first assessment in September, late September, the second one in late January, early February, and then the most recent one at the end of May and early June it was finished. We have the 5-level placement color key. The green is on or above grade level. The yellow is a grade level below, and then the red are more of the warning signs that we are 2 grade levels or more below. It is also important to point out that every student in the district takes these assessments. So we have students who are English language learners at varying ability levels in terms of their English language proficiency. We have students with significant learning disabilities that are taking the assessments. So it's something to keep in mind. Now I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, and she's going to take us through the data at Gillette in June. And the principals go through all of this. They're going to show you the data from June all the way through 8th grade. And then we're going to switch over to the district data and look at some comparisons from September to June and see how we did in terms of growth. And then we're also going to specifically look at the typical growth data.
Okay, so for Gillette reading, this is by grade level and this is our most recent data that we have. So for kindergarten, we had 60% of our population was mid or above grade level, 26% was early on grade level, 14% would be 1 level below grade level, and then 0% 2 or more levels below grade level. And for first grade, 67% fell into that mid or above, 11% early grade level, 21% 1 grade below grade level, and 0% again for 2 or more below grade level. So reading overall, this is for the school as a whole. Out of 181 students, we had 64% mid or above grade level, 19% early or on grade level, and 18% 1 grade level below. And then to shift over to math, we had 52% of our kindergarten students were mid or above grade level, 20% were early grade level, 28% were 1 level below grade level, and then 0% 2 or more below. And for first grade in math, 46% were a mid or above grade level, 24% early grade level, 29% 1 grade level below, and just 1% 1 or more grade levels below. And then math overall, out of the total school, 181 students, we had 49% mid or above grade level, 22% early or on grade level, and 29% 1 grade level below, and then 1% 3 or more grade levels below.
Excuse me, the grade level below, it wasn't the last category, which is more than 1. It was just 1 grade level below, or?
So there's 2 grade levels below, and that's where that was, the 1%. We didn't have anybody into the 3 or more grade levels below.
Thank you.
And then just for our annual growth, so as Mr. Alexis mentioned, we took 3 diagnostics, 1 in September, 1 in January, and 1 in June. And in reading for the Gillette overall, we started in September with 29% of our students in the green, which was on or above grade level. We went to 83%. We started in September, 68% were 1 grade level below, and we ended with 17% 1 grade level below, and we started at 3% 2 or more grade levels below and ended at 0. And for math, we started with 19% were on or above grade level, and we finished with 71% on or above grade level. 73% were 1 grade level below. Then we were at 28% at the end of the year. And finally, we finished 8%, 2 or more grade levels below, and we ended at 1%. I'll pass it on to Jennifer for Millington.
Good evening, everyone. So we're going through reading first for Millington School. Second grade, you can see it in the green. We had 72% that were mid or above grade level, 17% who were early grade level, 9% that were in the on grade level, and then 2% that were 2 below, and then 0 for more than that. In grade 3, 60% were above grade level, 23% were early grade level, 6% with the on grade, 1 grade level below, and then 7% and 4%, which was the 2 grade levels below. Then in 4th grade, 53% were, we have a lot of grades, so a lot of numbers. 53%, which was the mid or above grade level, 23%, which was the early grade level, 22%, which was 1 grade level below, and then we have 1% and 2% for the reds. 40% in 5th grade were mid to upper or beyond grade level, 29% were the early grade level, 15% was 1 grade level below, 10%, 2 grade levels below, and then 6%. And so overall, out of 364 students, you could see the breakdown on the graph there. 204 students were mid or above, 84 early or on grade level, 46% 1 grade level below, 19 2 grade levels below, and 11 3 or more. And then as we go to math, we have grade 2, 44%, which were mid or above grade level, 31% early grade level, 22% 1 grade level below, and then 2% 2 grade levels below. 3rd grade, 54% for the mid to above grade level, 19% for early grade level, 20% 1 grade level below, and then for both reds, there was 3% in each group. Grade 4, 51% to mid or above grade level, 28% early grade level, 20% 1 grade level below, and just 1% was the more than 2 grade levels below. And then 5th grade, 45%, which were the mid to above grade level, 21% early grade level, 26% in the 1 grade level below, 2%, and then we finished with 6% for more than 2 grade levels below. And math overall, out of 364 students, 178 were on the mid or above grade level, 89 early on grade level, 81 students 1 grade level below, 7 2 grade levels below, and 9 3 or more grade levels below. And so for our overall annual growth, in reading, I'll start with the red. We started the year with 18%, 2 or more grade levels below, and that moved to 7%. We started the year with 32%, 1 grade level below. 13%, 32%, and it moved to 13%. And then on or above grade level, we had 51% moved to 79%. And then for math, in red again, 2 or more grade levels below, 13% moved to 4%. 1 grade level below went from 54% to 24%, and on or above grade level is 33% moved to 73%. And now I'll hand this over to Mr. Vitarello for Central.
All right, for Central School, we're starting with reading. In 6th grade, we had 52% that were mid or above grade level, 14% were at grade level, 22% were 1 grade level below, 4% were 1 grade level below. 2 grade levels below for 4%, and more than that were 7%. For 7th grade, we had 50% were mid or above grade level, 19% were at grade level, 17% were 1 grade level below, and then we had 3% for under grade level, and 11% were 2 or more grade levels below. And for 8th grade reading, 42% were mid to above grade level, 24% were at grade level, 14% were 1 grade level below, and then we had 4% under grade level, and 15% were 2 or more grade levels below for reading. And then that's our reading data overall, all combined. So 100 out of 282, 135 were mid or above grade level. 55 students were at grade level. 50 students were 1 grade level below, 11 students were 2 or more grade levels below, and 31 students total were 3 or more grade levels below for reading. In our culminating data, that's at the end of the year. For math, 6th grade, we had 43% at or above grade level, 34% were at grade level, 14% were 1 grade level below, and then we had 2% for undergrade level, and then the 6% there as well. For 7th grade, we had 35% mid or above grade level, 30% at grade level, 19% were 1 grade level below, and then the 5% and the 11% for in the red categories there. And then for 8th grade, which was one of our largest grades, 98 students, we had 35% mid or above grade level, 27% at grade level, 26%, so a big chunk were 1 grade level below, and then the 6% and the 7% for the red categories. And then for our culminating data overall, you could see there we had 38% were mid or above, or that's 106 students. 30% were on grade level, which was 85 students. 1 grade level below is 20%, or 56 students. And then the red categories there, 13 students were 2 grade levels below at 5%, and 3 or more were 22 students at 8%. And then our overall, the summary for our annual growth in reading, I'll start at the bottom. So 2 or more grade levels below, we started at 22% in September, and we finished at 15%. 1 grade level behind, we were at 21%, and we finished at 18%. And then on or above grade level, we were at 57% and ended at 67%. And then for math, I'll start at the bottom too. For the red, we were at 21% and brought that down to 12%. We were at 42% for 1 grade level behind and brought that down to 20%. And increased at the top, the green, we started at 37% in the beginning of the school year and ended at 68%. Okay, and that was Central's data.
Yep, and so when we look at the district combined progress, we have a slide here that gives you a visual image of the above is the June diagnostic, and below is the late September one. And you can see the numbers moving positively, to the right. The green has expanded, the yellow and the red has decreased. You'll see something similar for the math summary. Michael? Thanks. You see actually a more pronounced increase, an expansion of the green, and a decrease in the yellow, and certainly of the red too. The next slide gives you the numbers. And so we ended up with a composite score of 76% on or above grade level for the entire district, K through 8. And we started at 49%, so we saw some significant improvement. The yellow decreased from, I believe that says 36% down to 15%, and the red cut almost in half from 16 to 9%. In math, we saw even more growth from September to June, ending at 71% on or above grade level, but starting at 31%. The yellow decreased significantly from over 50% down into the 20s, and the red was cut by more than half, from 15 to 6%. And then when we go to the next slide, I want to show you something which I think is notable. This is the weekly, the average weekly amount of time that students spent on the learning path. That's basically the practice exercises, and we had been advised by the consultant to come up with about 45 minutes a week in terms of usage, and we had students, meeting that. Basically, the lower bar is from 2024 when we first started this. So you see most of those hovering around 30 to 33 minutes, and then this year there was probably about a 15 or 16 minute weekly increase. which does translate over the course of 40 weeks into about 600 minutes or 10 hours of extra practice. And I know there's been some concerns voiced about the amount of screen time, and iReady is not perfect, but I do think we did follow the advice of Curriculum Associates, who advised, based on the research, that there is a number that really is about 45 minutes a week for each subject is really very helpful for the students, and you'll see progress. So when we go to the next slide, not that this is a perfect correlation, but we did see a significant increase in the academic growth comparison, basically on reading proficiency. In 2023-24 school year, 65% of the kids ended up on or above grade level. This year, 76%. So 11 percentage points higher in terms of reading proficiency performance. And mathematics, even a greater increase. Last year's was at 50%, and then it went up to 71% this year. So we saw 21 percentage points higher in terms of mathematical proficiency performance on the iReady diagnostics. So now we return to the original goal, right? So we wanted to give you the background and give you the data on how the kids did with the diagnostic assessments throughout the year. But we had this specific goal that we wanted at least 80% of the students to achieve their typical growth for the year, and this is set by the algorithms of iReady and based on national norms. We didn't quite get to the 80%. I discovered later in the year that really was an ambitious goal, but we did in reading have 66% of students achieve their typical growth, and in math 60%. So more than satisfactory progress, and gives us something to continue to reach for. So we were happy about that. Goal number 2, as you'll remember, was about attendance. And we placed a large focus on this. I talked a lot, especially during the winter, about the historic flu season that really created an obstacle for us. But in the spring, we definitely saw steady improved attendance throughout those spring months. And we ended up with 95.44%, which wasn't as much as we wanted to. We had set a goal of 97%, which again was an ambitious goal. But for the flu season, we probably would have been closer or at 96%, which really is a significant increase. One other important note here, Michael did the calculations for this year's attendance, and we did reduce our chronic absenteeism rate and got it down to 8.1%. Last year's performance report for the 2023-24 school year had it reported at 10.8%. So that's encouraging. And I do think, as several of you have mentioned, it takes a while for this to become part of the culture where attendance is expected. And we did get a lot of feedback that there is a heightened intensity about attendance, but as we've said all along, it's because the students learn best when they're here in school and engaged with their teachers and classmates.
Excuse me, chronic is, what's the meaning of chronic again?
Go ahead, Mark.
It's 18 or more absences. Once you pass 18, then you're determined as chronically absent as per the state. Okay. So we've really we always monitor closely, but I was really tracking those from the year before. Once those students start to pass that threshold, just endlessly reaching out to them.
Okay.
You also had that calendar up on the right in the entranceway of the school, just reminding everyone this is the monthly attendance for September, October, et cetera, throughout the year, and we'd post it. So we just want to continue to emphasize it, to highlight it, to reinforce the importance of it. We have our own separate web page on the district website that has data, and it keeps track of the monthly attendance, but also data and research about why school attendance is important on a consistent basis.
Can I just say, in the iReady, I mean, I'm obviously not exposed to it. You identify individual students. Was there any thought to identifying the students that were below grade level to the chronic absentee people?
Yeah, there definitely is, but I'm going to let's save that question for the end with the
Okay.
with the principals. So goal number 3, but it's a good thought. Goal number 3 was raising family engagement. We did this in a few different ways. Some of the primary avenues were just the new branded letterheads and look of the website, which was intended to just get people's attention, to approach everything with consistency and uniformity. We created Instagram accounts and let go of the X accounts for each school in the district. And probably most importantly, we created these parent information webinars that we hosted this year. We had 10 different topics. Robin started off the year with one on transportation and the National School Lunch Program, and Dr. Jones came up with the rest of these through ideas that were shared with her from the administrative leadership team, from board members, from community members. She also did a survey at the end of the year and asked for input and has some ideas for expanding this next year and actually making one session available during the day for parents because that was some of the feedback that we got, that would be a better time for them to hop onto a webinar. And then goal number 4 was the QSAC process. This is a year-long process. The state monitoring system governs it by statute, and the county education office in Morris County basically does the monitoring and asks for a great deal of information and documents, and we provide a lot of that remotely throughout the year. Their visit was postponed from February until April because of snow, or at least threatened snow, and they came on April 24th. We got a lot of positive feedback in all areas. Curriculum was highlighted by the reviewer from the county office as being very strong. The operations, personnel, governance, and fiscal. We don't have our official scores yet. We're waiting for that from Trenton, from the Department of Education. But we believe it's going to be aligned with our self-assessments, which means basically 100 points in most of these areas, perhaps a 98 in one area. And the one area that we've talked about before at board meetings and in committee meetings is the instruction and programming. We got our full credit for our curriculum documents and our curriculum program, but we lost points based on the NJSLA scores from last year when the state puts it through their formula. We came up basically 4 100ths of a point shy. We needed to have 80. Overall, 79.5 would be rounded up to 80, but we fell a little bit short there. So we won't be receiving that designation of high performing, but as we've said before, it probably is a good thing in a sense because it did highlight and reinforce certain areas that we need to improve on when it comes to student performance on the assessments. And then lastly, we, as everyone recalls, this winter we did our strategic planning process, and through the input of our faculty, our administrative leadership team, our board members, and our family members, and even some community members, we identified 4 strategic plan goal areas. 1 being teaching and learning, 2, culture of respect and well-being, 3, future-focused facilities, and last, building community. So what we did with that for our district goals is that the administrative leadership team, we have co-chairs for each goal, and their assignment was to come up with a district goal that would be aligned with the strategic plan goal areas, so that we do have this strategic alignment throughout the district and everything that we're going to be working on next year. So the next slide has the proposed district goals. So the first one aligned with teaching and learning. We've talked a lot about implementing MTSS, and we've been doing a lot of the work this year, and we look forward to starting the implementation process on a full-scale basis in September. So we are looking to raise student achievement by strengthening the use of data-informed instructional strategies, resulting in at least 75% of students meeting the Tier 1 goals in English language arts during at least 2 of the MTSS instructional cycles. There probably will be 3 instructional cycles throughout the year, but this is all part of the process, and we felt this would be a good goal to measure our progress in implementing MTSS. The next one is developing a district-wide student-led mentoring program. We dipped our toe into this at the middle school this year. We have plans to continue it, but we're looking to spread it throughout the district in some form. The measure will be some form of either the NJSCI survey or other qualitative feedback from students and staff. Future-focused facilities. We have our new Learning Commons being worked on right now at Central Middle School. We have a new media center this past year at Millington. And we are looking for ways to measure the engagement of students to serve as models, whether it's flexible furniture or other features that will serve as models for instructional upgrades in the future. Again, this is going to have to be measured by qualitative feedback. Maybe some data too, we can figure out a way to measure how much more often the Learning Commons is used than the old library, but also feedback from students and staff will be key. And the last goal is to build a more connected and informed school community through enhanced communication and collaboration among students and staff and community members. So again, the NJ survey, which we plan to continue this year, and other feedback from families will help us build on our previous family engagement goal from the last year, and all of this is well aligned with our strategic plan. And then the next slide is basically an opportunity for anyone to ask questions while we have the principals here.
Yeah, that was my only job, was to say, hold your questions till the end, so sorry about that. Any questions?
Obviously, we've had students come in during the year. Do you think the numbers, well, you know the universe of the students, did that affect the evaluation of the iReady? Like maybe they came in mid-year. Is there any kind of way to monitor that? Because all of a sudden,
There certainly is ways to monitor all of that. Looking at the data, I think Mr. Alexis shared this morning, earlier at the presentation, you know, every student in the school takes the assessment. So when we look at each grade level and the test, we identify the students. So I can tell you students that are going to be 3 grade levels below have a true learning disability. So all those students are still participating in the test. We have a number of ELL students that come in, ESL students who are new entries to the district. So that's going to affect some of the data as well. So new students coming in, yes, we would look at those students to see where they fall and see what supports might be needed.
and like I said, I apologize just because I don't know the functioning of the iReady. The tests that are you use for the monitoring are automatically generated within the system. I mean, you don't tailor any of the tests.
No, we do not do anything.
Okay.
And the students will get a question based on how far they can answer that question or how well they do. It might take them down a level. If we also have some students that get flagged because they rush through it. So so that's something that when I looked at all my students, I said we did a pretty good job this year of trying to build that stamina, but we need more messaging. Just like before NJSLA, how we have to take this seriously, how we look at the data. But you have to think, third graders, right? They're 8, first time taking NJSLA. Literally 1 week is passed in between that and starting iReady because there's so many end of the year events. Okay. So I did get some parent feedback. I'm not sure how to I've responded, but we can't really fix it, that we need that end of the year data. So just really encouraging the kids the best we can and to do their best.
Who would like to talk a little bit about how we're going to use, because a lot of this iReady data is going to be helpful next year with the MTSS approach.
I think our rookie is going to come up and share.
We have Dana Carcillo, our new Director of Special Services here.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So the data will be used to to identify the students for the tiers. So there's tier 1, which is general education. So that'll be done in the homerooms with the teachers. And that will be looked at just some areas that the overall grade level could use, more focus on to strengthen the skill of that. Then the data will also be used to identify the kids midpoint of our first cycle to see who's not responding to that intervention and then might need an additional tier. So the tier 2, still in the general education, still within the classroom by delivered by the teacher, small group, so it's met. It could be met anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week in the classroom. And then from that, again, the data will be used to identify the kids that may need a tier 3 targeted support. Again, still falling under the umbrella of general education, but that student may need to be pulled out by an interventionist. And that will be the most intensive level of support that we are given. And the goal is between the cycles, so the first time you take iReady to the second time, that you're looking to see, as the data showed on the screen, the green sections increasing, and then the red and the yellow sections decreasing. So the data that we have from the iReady drives the instruction for the MTSS process.
Thank you.
There you go.
A couple of questions. The early on grade level, how's that defined? Is that early on grade level? That's the definition.
Early on is the beginning to mid.
The beginning of the grade level. So where the student should be at the beginning of the grade
So like September is early on, like September, October, and then mid-year, and then end of year.
Oh, I think I know.
No, it's-
I think I know what you mean. If it's a second grade
Right.
test, so they've hit grade level, but it's like the earlier point of their second grade year, even though they're taking it in June. Okay.
So they're still within the grade level, but they're not,
Yeah.
they're not at, like, they're not.
I was assuming, but I just wanted to hear it because then you fall to the yellow, which is 1 grade level or below. Okay. I'll just suggest that iReady was done last year as well, right? And that's what we're basing this on, is iReady. It would have been helpful to see last year over this year at the same point.
Yeah. We had a comparison slide on that, right?
That was Tom, at the end, the chart, the graph. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
I can flip. Let me see. Yeah.
This is
Is that the same one?
Right here from previous year. This slide that's up.
yeah.
That's one of them,
And
yeah.
then this is a narrative.
That's great. And I will say that, although I'm still not disappointed that all the kids aren't getting hundreds, it was definitely great growth this year. Excellent work. Good. I'll be watching you this fall and next spring too.
I was curious, well, 2 questions. One, just seeing, I have a middle school student, actually now I have 2. I know that there's a notorious, especially at the end of the school year, sandbagging of the exams. If that's are you kind of looking at that and saying, because obviously the middle school had the largest number, and I'm sitting there and I know parents, and they're saying the kids are just not even interested at all.
It's a valid topic that you bring up. It's hard for us to gauge how much effort did someone put in when they're sitting there quietly and they're going through the task. But it gets a little challenging. I think at any grade level, the middle school kids included, it could be any grade level, where they get a little fatigued. It's like, okay, we know that we're going to take this 3 times. We know that the teachers are putting an emphasis on it. It's the end of the year. We already took the NJSLA. So it's hard. I don't know if I can give a quantifiable answer to that, but it's a valid point. Some might give better effort than others. So it does, as I think Jennifer mentioned before, it does flag if they click away too fast. It will flag for us, and we can have them retake it. But if someone just sat there and took their time but didn't really put in a lot of effort, you're not going to really know. You can look at prior numbers though to see where someone falls, because sometimes someone might do more poorly on the most recent than the one before, and you say, hey, what's going on there? I don't know. It is, although we have good data by them continually using iReady, it's still just one benchmark on one day. That's the way that we kind of look at it. So, we have to look holistically at the big picture, how they're performing in class. This is another measure. We use the NJSLA as another measure, their most recent unit test. So we try to put it all together. The teachers, when we have data meetings, I can tell you we have a very good background on the students. We kind of know what's going on, what direction they're moving in. So that's the big picture, And then as another point, the teachers and us have a very, very clear-cut view on the standards and skills. So we get very good data and say, okay, in 6th grade, what are the low performing skills in the beginning of the year? And then we're going to try to work on those with like tier 1 goals, which Dana mentioned. So that's what we have, we're looking forward to next year, to just improving.
Danielle?
I just had a couple questions. One was going off of what you had originally said, like in the middle of the presentation, when you said, is there any correlation between the children with the chronic absenteeism
Some.
to the red?
Yeah,
Did
it's
you notice anything?
some at the middle school. There's some that I've noticed are on, kind of both lists. Yeah. I can't speak for the other schools, but definitely at Central, yes.
Okay, and then two more questions, and then, which, this one's maybe silly, but so every single child that takes this, they complete it, right? Like, they're not gonna run out of time, like, they definitely complete.
They complete it.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, sorry, time's
Everybody
up.
gets almost extended.
Okay,
time. Yeah.
awesome. That's
Correct. Yeah. Because it really wants to know how they're performing on those skills and standards. Correct.
And then just to mention it, it just stuck out to me that for Central Middle School, it looked like they did overall in math did well in improving the numbers to like majority green. But Central for the reading looked like we like barely moved the needle. It was like
Yeah, they started a little higher. I think it was 10 points for the green, but the smaller didn't shrink as much as we would have liked it to. Yeah.
And then I just took notice of that. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, but with the new, sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But with the second year with the consultant and with the interventionist, we are looking at the interventions that we will be using specifically at the middle school as well to target the instruction that they will be receiving at the different tiers.
Thank you.
I'm really interested in seeing this next year after having another year with them, the multi-tiered, and also seeing the new math program implemented, and also just another year if we've had this growth. Like, I like seeing that, like, now we have something to compare it on, and I have faith that we're having, like, real things to kind of sink our teeth in to kind of understand what's going on. And I think also, hopefully some parents will read these things and understand that where we're coming from as a district, why you guys are, make these recommendations, why we're doing this. Because it's one thing to say, oh, we're doing iReady, and what, but, like, I sit there and I try to, like, look what other districts use it. What's this? And just to kind of see how we are improving and what we're getting. I'm glad we're having this presentation because I think it's valuable data. And also as a parent to be able then to say, well, to talk to them about that. Because the kids do, it's in the ether, it's things that are talked about. And I had one kid coming home and talking about the curriculum in one of the classes that he was interested in. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And telling our pediatrician, it was amazing. He's 10. But, so they do kind of soak it all in. And so I do think having this kind of information out and having it in the community, and hopefully parents will, listen to it and learn about it, because it is, we are moving. It takes time, but, you can see the steps are there.
Thank you. Crystal?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you because I know the work that all of you have put into the data-driven instruction and the tiers of support for the students, and it just feels really good to have an administrative team talking so comprehensively about the data, and it's very clear that everyone knows their students. I really appreciate the context of last year's numbers and this year's numbers, as well as like looking at the growth, because we want all of our kids to be proficient, but then we want to make sure that those that are proficient, we're still moving them up, and that those are struggling, that we're really looking at their growth as well. So I really appreciate that. I did have one question, and this is just for sheer curiosity because I don't think that I've asked it. Do the students know, is there any conversation with the kids about their data after the assessments? Because I know that like the data meetings and everything, I was just wondering and curious, like if we had any like student data talks or anything like that.
So we've had some they have some tools in iReady to encourage kids to get to the minutes, right? I've had some conversations with primarily 5th grade students that I knew were rushing through things, or teachers were reporting back, just to say, I'm not just looking at this data. Mr. Vitarella is going to look at it, but some of the kids are still rushing through.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it a little bit better of how we're going to get to that point. We do release it to parents, so hopefully they're sitting with their children
and I'll just say it's so powerful, I think, and so I know that when I talk to my kids about it, like when they see their growth, because to whoever made the point, there's not a lot of weight behind it, right? Like, why am I taking this? What am I doing? But when they see how much they've grown over a period of time,
Yep.
I mean, they just light up. So I was just curious, but thank you so much for the context and all the work that you all have done around data.
And just as
It's
you're
really
saying
great.
that, our interventionists are fabulous. So I want to
Yes, they are.
highlight them too. We rely on their work and expertise. They have a tool bag of everything. So they support what the teachers are doing in the classroom.
Thank you. Karen?
I don't know if this could be done, I don't know if it would be valuable, but if you have, the second grader this year, and next year the third grader, that as a third grader, like, can you track the student
follow
all
them
the way through
Year
that
to
one
year,
student, year to year?
Yes, we do.
We do. So,
So last summer, we created data charts.
okay,
And all the teachers filled in the data from the end of the year testing, not just iReady, but if they took Dibbles at the early elementary school, Fontes and Pinnell, all of our data that was used. And they tracked from end of the year before. So second grade teachers looked at end of the year, first grade data, filled that in, and each testing we put the data in. And we all were able to see where students were.
so what I'm curious is that, how do I want to say this? Is there a fall off between the summer and in the summer? Because the kids that they left Gillette School like really good, and then in September.
They're
what is that?
tested kind of on two different things. Now they're tested on a different grade level standards that they don't know yet.
Okay. Okay.
But there's probably a summer slide, is what you're saying, like, no matter, like,
Yeah.
that's typical.
That's how I sold my kids on the Summer Institute. I was like, you don't want summer slide.
Any other questions? No? Thank you all very much.
Very
Thank you,
much.
folks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes. Have a
Thank
good
you for
summer.
coming out on your summer.
Yes.
Yes, have a good summer.
Okay, moving to communications.
Nothing to report.
Okay, board committee and liaison reports. Karen?
Okay, on June 11th, I attended a virtual meeting for Ed Services Commission, and the two things that would impact us, I guess, we approved the CSA revaluation and the new goals for the new year, and as I mentioned before, they've had declining enrollment, so they actually are going to go through a forced reduction this year. So it'll see the inevitability of their school closing is getting closer and closer. Governance met, excuse me, and first topic was a discussion of mission and vision, and George had utilized some AI tools to see what could be generated from the input things that he gave. Unfortunately, none of it was very earth-shaking or, appropriate, I want to say appropriate, but really didn't jive with what we were looking for. So, getting back to it, he's going to be, he also shared with us some from other districts. So, we're going to be looking at it as a committee to try to see if we can come up with something, and George is going to work with the administrative team. And all of us agreed, we want something, I'll say it short and sweet, because we should be able to say it. We should know it ourselves, we should be able to say it, it should be very repeatable, not one of these 4 or 5 sentence things that gives you everything. So it's going to help. And then, of course, we're going to get it to the board, our suggestions, and we'll go through it together. The self-evaluation, I guess, we thought it was good. I'd be curious to get any comments from anybody at how you thought it was, how the session went, if it was valuable, anything we could change, what we could do better. So, you want to comment, or you want to let me know later, or you don't have any comment, or?
If you have any thoughts, email Karen.
Okay. I thought the one thing is that, we all said it, we were very critical of ourselves, which is really good, because that means that we're expecting more from ourselves. Like we said, we expect more from the kids too. Okay, calendar evaluations and goal setting. It was a question as to whether we would follow the yearly calendar or the school year. After some back and forth, we follow the school year as it is now. We're gonna stay with that. It seems to work best, especially because it goes in line with the school goals. So our goals will go for the school year. And the pacing of the CSA evaluation has to be the way it is because it has to be completed by July 1st. We could possibly look at a little bit of a difference in the timing of the self-evaluation as we spread it out, maybe spread it out a little bit more because I guess the comment was, they come right on one after another. The other way to look at it is you get it over with right away and the pain is not prolonged. Okay. Charlene had provided us a sample of the district's calendar, Washington Township, that they have on their website that gives a very detailed look at a lot of the activities, and many of those are already on ours, but we're going to do a little comparison. And what they did, they also added committee meetings on their calendar, so the public knew that. So we might consider putting on committee meeting dates, or even if we just showed, like at the beginning of the year, how the committees had worked, like, we meet on the third Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock. Even if you put that in there for them to know, then the public knows that, committees are working, they do the work, and, we're moving ahead. All right, the big one, finance. Okay, I have to look at this because this is like a lot of stuff. Health benefits update. 15 LHEA employees were paid out for accepting a waiver for health benefits, and it cost about $67,000. And, excuse me, there are 6 employees that decided to switch to the educator health plan, saving them approximately $14,000, and the district saving about $7,000. And per the contract, there were 3 employees involved in health benefit payments over the summer. 1 retiree and 2 resignations, and they will be covered through August 30th at a cost about $12.5K. As I said, it's per the contract. You know that we waive fees on activities that happen throughout the year in all of the schools, and on things such as the graduation, the dance at Primavera, etc. Now, the cost of those fees from 1 year over to this year, it increased 98%. Now, the big increase, obviously, is because there was a redefinition of who could qualify for free and reduced based upon Medicaid requirements, although that could change again. But usually it was paid out of yearbook, let's say for Central School yearbook, excuse me, and what was remaining from the Primavera dance. But we might have to look at new avenues to provide that. One of those avenues is actually putting in some funding for it. So there was, some discussion about what could be done about that. But again, like I said, year over year, it was pay to play fees, field trip fees, and other things. That's where the waivers come in. As mentioned before, Robin was concerned about the rates that they were getting or being charged from the bank, so she put out an RFP. 4 banks have requested the RFP from us, and the due date is 7/24. On the agenda, there's a lot of items. There's disposition of assets, like, old books and, a dysfunctional wheelchair. There was a grant from Force for standing desks, and I guess the way it was...
Long Hill Education Foundation.
I apologize, okay, Long Hill Education Foundation. They were going to purchase the desks and then give it to us, but it works out better for us to purchase the desks, so they're going to donation of money to purchase the standing desks. We received a grant of $3,600, and I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. The note is, it's for, I know what it's for. It's Optimal Comprehensive Universal Screeners, whatever.
Yeah, the state put out a grant making funds available to comply with the new literacy screening law.
Okay,
So we're
that's right, the
yeah.
testing, okay. You're going to see, again, Approval of vendors where expenditures over $44,000. Again, it's always per contract. It's a requirement based upon Robin's previous certification. Now that she has a new certification, that's limit is raised to $55,000. So this is the last time we'll see that. You'll also see about Robin's change on that. We had to make an interest payment only, payment on our debt. And if you remember, during the year, we had an investigator. We utilized the services just in case we need them again. We put them on for approval, not that we're going to use them. Food service aids for the new school year. You're going to see all the rates are approved and the hours. Everything has been worked out, and I got the lead first aid, et cetera. Now, the big thing is we have an additional preschool section, and what's going to be done is this. The autistic class in Gillette is going to be converted to the preschool class. The autistic class, we are requesting a waiver from the county to utilize the space of the teacher's lounge for the autistic class. There are only 3 students involved in that. It'll be totally renovated as a classroom. It meets all of the requirements in terms of size, space, etc. And, excuse me, like I said, that is going to be done. And if I remember correctly, about the ability of the faculty lounge to be available for the faculty is, I mean, like, they're going to have another.
Yeah, there's an alternate space available.
There's an
for the
alternate
teachers.
space available, yes, okay. We reviewed information regarding personnel, but George, or somebody's going to review that. All the bills were reviewed and are ready for approval and can be passed in the resolution. So, that's all for me.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna go to Danielle.
Okay, let me get to my notes. We had a Community Relations Committee meeting on July 1st, and it was George and Tom, myself, and Kim via Zoom, and basically we spoke about the communications between the senior center and our district in regards to the calendar events, and just keeping communications open in terms of reminders weekly, a week before a big event or the day before the event, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page, and also for invites as well. We also talked about the results to the parent webinar survey, and basically 13 people responded to the survey. Topics were that were included were extracurricular activities, social emotional learning topics, handling friendships, transportation, things like that. So we're always, they're always looking for more ideas for those types of webinars. We talked about the release of iReady results, which we had the wonderful presentation tonight. We spoke about ongoing communications for the kindergarten and 6th grade orientations coming up this summer, and making sure that all those emails are out and reminders and stuff like that. We talked about 5th grade clap out. I know there was a lot of feedback from the community that maybe there's something that the school could be involved in terms of moving up the 5th grade students to the central and kind of memorializing that. So we're looking into ideas, and there will be more to come on that. We spoke to Jack about a lot of the website data. He had a lot of good numbers for us, and we're going to continue monitoring those as well. And then for good of the order, we were just discussing our goals, like when to do our goals, which I think we decided we're going to talk about our new ones coming this August. And our next meeting is July 28th, but I'm going to have to reschedule that. So to be continued.
Duly noted.
Any questions for Danielle? Okay, Crystal?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Tom?
Nothing to report this month.
Okay, Katie?
Just some minor Long Hill Ed Foundation news. Our annual gala will be on November 14th from 7 to 11 at Bridgewater Manor. It'll have there'll be, like the tricky tray, and also there'll be like a meal. It's a really wonderful event. There'll be much more information, and it's a night of Hollywood, so that should be a great time. We also will be participating in the Millington Music Fest, which is on September 27th. It's sponsored by the Long Hill Chamber of Commerce, and we will be involved with the Kids Zone. So more information will be going out about that. We had our final meeting of the year, and we had our election, and myself, Mike Costa, and I was the president, Mike LaCosta, who was our secretary, and Anna Keshvali, who was our treasurer for about 10 years. We all decided that we were not going to run for re-election, and but would remain involved in our various ways. So I'm very pleased to announce that our new president, starting in September, will be Yasmin DiGiovanni. Our vice president will be Mary Pepe. Our treasurer is Omar Beg, and our secretary is Enas Elisa. So we have a really strong group. It's really exciting to see this group. We've had an influx of volunteers, of parents of all, kids of all different ages, and it's just really exciting to see this organization kind of grow in a very organic way, and we have a lot of really exciting things coming up. I will still be involved. I'm not going anywhere, but everyone needs to kind of have more time to do more things, and I'm really excited that Yasmin is a superstar, and I think everything's going to be great. So on to new things, and that's all I have.
Well, okay, thank you for your service, and congratulations to the new officers.
Excuse me.
Okay, any questions for Key?
No, I apologize,
Nope.
because I don't think Robin would want to brag about this, but she had a charge to go get a teacher's desk and a teacher's chair, and she dragged her husband, and they went to Restore, like her Habitat for Humanity store.
Morrison.
She got a teacher's desk and a desk chair and a rocker for the new kindergarten classroom. I'm sorry, pre-K classroom for $30.
Nice job, Rob.
Couldn't you get it a little bit less? Couldn't talk them down. Good job.
They're good quality.
Did you have a car to put all of that in, or?
My husband has a truck.
Oh,
Said
She went
date
ready.
night.
Ready.
thank you, Robin. Okay, so if any other questions? Okay, superintendent's report.
Okay, just a couple of notes here. You'll see on the agenda, and I'm very pleased to report that we've been fortunate to find candidates to fill 3 very difficult to fill positions on our staff. We're still looking for paraprofessionals and a leave replacement teacher and a new facility supervisor. And now in September, we'll need a new technology assistant because Andrew is going to be moving on to a new adventure, and we wish him well. And Mark Brasina will be helping us out during the transition with facilities. Karen covered the facilities waiver application. The other thing I just wanted to point out is that we have to submit our Chapter 27 Emergency Virtual or Remote Instruction Plan, which has to be approved each year, and that's in your board folder, and we will be submitting that once it's approved by the board. And I think that's it. Our next meeting's August 4th, just for the community to put that note in the back of their minds.
Okie dokie. Any questions? Robin, did we miss you on this agenda, or do we normally?
Am I not on the agenda?
Not that I see.
Oh, no, you're not there.
So good thing Karen mentioned the
It's
restore.
okay, she can still go.
We need to have a vote on that? No.
No, it's okay.
I only have a few things, just a few brief updates. On the financials tonight, you'll see 2 bills lists. One is to close out 24-25, and the other is to open 25-26. The end-of-year list is slightly higher than usual, reflecting typical year-end processing and closeout of purchase orders. Then on the petty cash and mileage, we've included our annual petty cash authorizations by department, as well as an additional mileage reimbursement for intra-district mileage travel during the past year. And just to say a little bit about what Karen was talking about on the purchasing threshold, I didn't get a new certification. I do have the QPA. The district bid threshold, though, is being formally increased to $53,000 as authorized by the state treasurer. And so we're able to increase it because I have my QPA.
Oh, okay.
And
Apologize.
that
All right.
also increases the amount of quotes. So we need to get a quote now for anything that is 15% of that, which I think is 79 something. So it increases our quote threshold as well. Okay, that's what I have.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Any questions? Okay. Any comments? Oh, wait, I had something that I wanted to say, sorry. I just wanted to mention, going back to, so we had personnel met on June 16th. I just want to, Mr. Alexis, Crystal, Justin, and myself met, and a lot of that, we just discussed issues related to personnel, some of that's on the agenda today. And also, Ann and I attended the Leadership Summit that school boards hosted for presidents and vice presidents on June 23rd. It was really good. I shared some of that information with governance, and we might be bringing some of the things that we did there to maybe something that we do through governance. A lot of it was about leadership development. Any comments from the public on agenda items? No? Okay. Okay, we're going to move to resolutions then. So, special tonight.
Don't make me read it.
I won't make you read, Karen. We did, this was Karen's 25th year of service to the Board of Education, and we really just want to thank her for the time and energy that she's put into this role, and she really has been such an advocate for the district and the work that we do here with students. So we wanted to do something special, and so we reached out to our legislative offices, and we were able to get a resolution from Assemblywoman Munoz and Matsakowicz and Senator Bramnick, and so we just want to read the words of that resolution. So I'm going to start with the first, whereas Danielle, if you can read it.
Whereas the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey are pleased to recognize the Honorable Karen Ann Nyquist, a highly esteemed resident of the Garden State, and commend the immeasurable contributions she has made to the Long Hill Township Board of Education throughout the past 25 years. And
Crystal.
Whereas since joining the Board of Education, Karen Ann Nyquist has secured a sterling reputation as chair of the Community Relations, Curriculum, Building and Grounds, Policy, and Governance Committees, a superb tenure marked by her expertise presenting on board governance at the New Jersey School Boards Association Fall Workshops in 2023, and 2024. And she has chaired the Superintendent Search Committee 3 times, leading the district through critical leadership transitions with professionalism and strategic insight. And
Whereas, having earned Carol E. Larson Master Board Member status, Karen Ann Nyquist has further distinguished herself as Vice President of the Morris County Educational Services Commission and as a member of the Board of Directors for the Morris County School Boards Association, thus demonstrating her unwavering commitment to excellence in public education. And
Whereas, in addition to her stellar record of volunteerism within the Long Hill Township Board of Education, Karen Ann Nyquist devotes her time and energies as a member of the Long Hill Township Citizens Emergency Response Team, the Rosary Society of St. Vincent de Paul Church, and the Board of Loudonsbury Meadow, and she provides invaluable support to various PTO functions, including the annual talent show and faculty Harlem Wizards basketball games. And
I'm going to wrap it up. Whereas the strength and prosperity of the state of New Jersey and the effectiveness of our American society greatly depend upon hardworking and resolute individuals, exemplified by Karen Ann Nyquist, who utilize their unique talents and resources in furtherance of an astute, engaged, and informed populace. And whereas by continually demonstrating an exemplary measure of civic mindedness, Karen Ann Nyquist has provided a model of faithful dedication to public service worthy of emulation. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that this legislature hereby salutes Karen Ann Nyquist, pays tribute to her meritorious record of accomplishment, and extends sincere best wishes for continued success in all the days to come. And be it further resolved that a duly authenticated copy of this resolution signed by the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker and attested by the Senate Secretary and the Assembly Clerk be transmitted to the Honorable Karen Ann Nyquist.
thank you.
thank you.
I think
I
you
know,
should say
I know,
something,
everybody
Karen.
would expect. You know, it's hard to realize that it's been 25 years. I mean, it goes fast. It's not something I initially went for. I was actually approached by teachers way back when, see if I was interested in it, and I went for it. At my state in life, you know, I'm being retired from another career. If I had to think about something that I would want to do that would, you know, give meaning to my life and what they say, give back to the community and help others, I can't think of a more important thing that I could do than be a member of this board. Little did I know how critical it was, and I truly, truly appreciated the confidence that the community had to vote me in the times that they did. And I have to honestly say, every board that I've worked with, we've all been focused on the students, and sometimes it's not easy, but it's always been something that I truly valued. And I just appreciate being appreciated, but I do really appreciate the opportunity that I have, that the community provided me. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just in case you want to see,
Yes.
here it is. Here it is. My resolution.
Very nice. It was actually, so going into their office to pick it up, it was very important because I walked in and I said, oh, I'm here picking up this resolution. You know, they're like, where's Karen's resolution? And I'm like, oh, she's like a household name in this office. So, and I thank their offices for doing that for us. Okay, but we should move it, do have a motion to approve, resolution number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll just do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I can vote
opposed?
for myself.
Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move to minutes. Number 2, Karen, will you move those in?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Danielle, will you move financials numbers 3 through 24?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes, but abstain from 19, please.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Crystal, will you move in special services numbers 25 through 30?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Tom, will you move in personnel numbers 31 through 63?
So moved.
Second.
Danielle realized.
Questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Mrs. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Katie, will we move in curriculum numbers 64 and 65?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes, I'm going to come back around. Karen, will we move in policy numbers 66 through 67?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Nope.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. And Danielle, will you move in other number 68?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Ms. Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Any items for discussion? I just want to mention that some board members had conflicts tonight, but Alex DeJamos lost his father. His father passed away, so unfortunately, that's the reason
Oh.
he's not here tonight. So we'll send prayers to his family, and we can discuss as a board any arrangements. Any new business?
Can I just ask?
Yes.
I say just August 4th, when we're doing our goal setting, are we doing it after the meeting or before?
After? Well, actually, before.
Yeah, we could,
I thought we were doing like a 5:30 deal again.
We should be doing a 5:30.
5:30 deal we're doing.
Could we do a 5:30?
we could, we just have to advertise
To
it.
advertise.
Yes, 7:30 is kind of late to start goal setting. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Any comments from the public? No? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Thank you.
None on your life.